We're
We're
lying.
we're lying?
Okay.
We're lemurs.
This is the
No.
tale.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
All right.
I'm so hungry.
I ate already. I made Mexican food.
I have
Actually,
Excellent.
I make really good guacamole. If I do say so myself. All right, let's go.
Are we ready?
You guys ready?
Are
we going?
Scared. I'm scared.
I'm ready.
I am now.
All right. Actually, I never tweeted the link or anything.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, I haven't even set up my track here.
Classic. Oh, come on. Why is it? Alan shared your link. What link, Alan? What link are you sharing?
The one on the Facebook.
This is the town.
Of Captain Jack Sparrow. Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
Did you read Batman?
Like Batman?
Batman with the
No.
spotter.
I'm behind.
There was a scene in the latest issue that I was like, what? What? No?
I couldn't find one of my issues there in the middle. I've got to find it.
Oh.
It's packed up in a box, probably where we moved. But
Wow.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I've got like nothing for the What's Up with Paul segment.
I got an idea for that.
What's that?
We could just tell about our dreams. We could each pick a dream from the last week or two and tell about it.
I don't really have dreams anymore. I got to a point, to a point in life where I realized it was pointless.
Yeah, I'm about there too. My heart is as callous and cold as the... I don't know, something that's callous and cold. Metaphors are too much effort.
As cold as your ex's heart.
Exactly. I don't actually have an ex. Because I've never...
My dog just brought in a sock for me.
Beautiful.
Now your feet can be warm.
That was nice of her.
Stop. Leave it. All right, you guys ready?
I don't know. Explain what ready means.
Oh my gosh.
What?
No.
Oh. I think I'm ready.
Yeah, let's go, because I want to get ice cream after this.
Me too.
That sounds
I've
good.
got cinnamon bun ice cream in the freezer.
Is it one of those cores?
No, it's not a core, but it's Ben & Jerry's.
Hey, we need to come up with a definitive date for when we're all getting together, by the way.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
It's settled. Let's go.
Yeah. No, I've got plans tomorrow.
Oh, crap. Jeez. All right.
We ready?
Yeah, let's go. You guys ready?
No.
I think so.
Don't forget you're saying the episode.
Episode 108,
Yeah.
right?
X-Men.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
All right.
Three. Oh. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
You're listening to Ancillary Characters, episode 108.
Who are they?
Who are we?
And who are we dealing with?
Who the heck are you?
Who do you think you are?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Who are these sick people?
And who are these two attractive young people?
Who are those guys?
It is the Ancillary Characters podcast, the podcast of the website ancillarycharacters.com. My name is Seth Breedlove. I am your host. I am joined by your two other hosts, Mr. Alan Boone
Hey, that's me.
and Mr. Paul Shirley.
Paul here.
Thanks for covering for me while I was gone last week, guys.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's what we do.
It was a good episode. We were talking beforehand about how I was on vacay and you guys were recording the show. And if our listeners don't know, typically during shows, we not me. I don't typically engage in this, but Ethan,
Right.
Alan especially like to send picture messages back and forth while we're recording. So I'm on vacation, and I don't know what exactly I was doing, but I think I was at our rental cabin in the mountains, and all of a sudden I get this horrifying picture from Alan of a baby head, and what's this? What was the image you sent?
It was this little midget-looking bald baby thing with the evil grin, holding a knife, looking around the corner at someone standing in the kitchen. I don't know where it came from, but what were we Googling, Paul, whenever I found
think
that?
it was probably when you were talking about those Spanish artists.
Spanish art. We're talking about Saturn devours his young, or whatever, his son.
Yeah, from Goya, or Greco.
All right. Goya.
Goya.
Mhm.
He invented the kaiju.
No.
No.
He did.
Yes.
Because he drew that painting called Colossus, which showed this giant dude heading toward a city. It was a kaiju.
Oh, okay, yeah. And I invented pizza. Anyway, I'm on
You did?
vacation, and in the mountains of
You
Tennessee.
just got shut down, Alan. You just
And
got shut down.
all of a sudden, I get this picture of a baby with a knife.
It's terrifying.
And I mean, I had no idea what was going on because I really didn't think about the fact that they were recording. If I had, I would have automatically known what was going on. But and then other things followed because then Ethan got into the picture text sending
Which
fray.
is always good. Always good.
Always
You
gets.
can always count on anything, guys.
Yeah. So
You can always
So
count on
anyway, vacation. I was on vacation. The most exciting thing related to my vacation that would pertain to this show is that I bought 2 single issues, print issues of comic books, and that was my first time to buy print issues of a comic in roughly 2 years. It might be a little longer. I'm talking like single issues. I buy hardcovers and
Right.
trades, obviously, but
Right. Obviously.
yeah, it's obviously. We went to the
Obviously.
store. We went to a store that Paul and I had actually gone to back in whatever year that was, 08. It was our pre-Flying Saucer Cast days. Paul and I took a romantic trip to Nashville together and went to this comic book store, and I looked up a comic book store not knowing it was the same one and wound up back at the same shop. So I bought Original Sin #2 in print, and I bought Sinestro #1 in print. And I also bought the Spider-Man Big Time Ultimate Collection because he was selling it for 60% off. So in honor of Dale_A, I picked up that Dan Slott mess just so I can give it a read. I might like it. You never know. I don't hate what I've read of Superior Spider-Man, so.
Superior was really good. I'm actually thinking about doing an article for the website.
We should. You know what? If you're going to do that, let's do a booklet of the first trade of that. Would you be interested? We should. I mean, I probably shouldn't be talking about this on air, but I just bought the first digital collection of Superior Spider-Man.
Oh. I have the issues in my iPad.
It's something to think about.
Have you read issue 700? Did you read that?
Me?
Yeah.
Is that the one that was like $8?
Yeah.
No, I would never buy that.
Why not?
Well,
It's so expensive.
I'm down with this idea, but we'll have to iron out the details later.
Yeah, we'll
Iron out
figure
those
it out.
deets. The deets.
If any of our listeners, we want to get back in the book it thing because we're coming into summer. We like to, really get into some of these bigger, meatier collections, story arcs and stuff. And if you have a suggestion for something you want us to read and review,
Tell us.
tell us.
Astonishing X-Men.
Astonishing X-Men.
Astonishing X-Men.
Astonishing X-Men. I think that
X-Men.
X-Men.
are both of our letters. You never sent the other letter to us. Are they both related?
Yeah, they're both X-Men related, so we can save those for the
We're gonna go on to everyone's favorite segment.
dolphin. Yellow. What's up? This is the segment where Paul, me, tells you what's up with Paul. Hence the name of the segment. What's up with Paul?
We need to script you some sort of introduction.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So what's up, guys? What's up? You guys know what's up? Anybody?
What's happening?
It's a preposition and an adverb.
All right. So thank you for that, Alan.
It's my
Thank you.
pleasure.
Some news that you might be interested in, Seth. Something that I'm not sure if you knew about this, but did you know that Boom Studios has put out a Big Trouble in Little China comic book?
I did. I haven't got around to checking that out.
It is co-written by John Carpenter
Yeah.
and
Mars.
Eric Powell.
Eric Powell scares me. I love the Goon, but everything I've read of Eric Powell's that wasn't the Goon, especially things where he's like hired on to write it, I hated. His Godzilla was atrocious. But the gorgeous Eric Powell covers to that Big Trouble in Little China make me want to buy it just on those grounds.
And it's drawn by Brian Churilla or Churia.
I didn't know that. See, I love that guy. That guy's art.
I'm just looking at like some pictures from the preview online. It looks great. It looks awesome. The art looks awesome.
That makes me want to check it out.
How's the movie?
The movie's hilarious.
Alan, are you kidding?
I'm not.
He's not kidding.
We've talked about this on the show.
Alan doesn't watch movies.
What's a movie?
What's a movie? John Carpenter co-writing it. I mean, you know.
Is he the one from Mars? John Carpenter of Mars?
John Carpenter of Mars, the classic Disney film.
Different John Carpenter, same name.
Actually, not the same name, Paul, but nice try.
Yeah.
I would recommend Alan go check out the movie, which I've already done on other shows.
Is it on Netflix?
I don't know. You have other means of renting a movie.
Is it in Redbox?
I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Yay! I like Amazon Prime.
Get it on there.
Is it not on Netflix?
It was for a while. In fact, it was about 3 years ago because that was the first time I rediscovered it.
Is it
But,
in Chinese?
It was in Chinese, so I got really mad and punched a hole
I'm okay with
in the wall.
subtitles.
And then no, it's not in Chinese. No, it's not in Chinese.
No, it's not in Chinese.
You stupid idiot!
All right, let's all just throw out our worst mocking accents of random different dialects. Let's do that. So seriously though, you knew about this and deliberately did not check it out.
I knew about it. I didn't know it came out. I was aware it was a thing that was going to be happening, and now that I know it's out, I want it just because I want to see if it's good. Because if it is good, I would buy it because I like Trilla and I like Eric Powell.
Is it available on Comixology?
Yeah. If it's Boom Studios, it's on Comixology. Actually, if it's Boom Studios, we probably have review copies of it floating around in our email inbox.
We're the worst.
Yeah, I've never read it.
I have. I just wanted to point out.
Yeah.
It's been like a year, but I have.
Yeah.
All
Those
right.
watermarks.
So, what?
Those watermarks, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Have we talked about Marvel's next event, Axis?
I
At
thought
all?
Original Sin was the next event.
It's
the
ridiculous.
current-
We need to talk about it because it to me
I'm
is
ready.
absurd that they are already launching their next event. It's
I
coming
agree.
out. It starts in what, October? It's like mid-October or something, or is it November?
I'm just trying actually to pull it up and see.
There's a window now of like 2 months where there won't be an event at Marvel. I don't even know if it might be like 2 weeks. It's a very short window before.
Yeah, it's
the
too
next
much.
event
It's
kicks
oversaturation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know, DC, they did the whole thing with the New 52. They were like, oh, we're going to wait a while and just do stories. And not that the New 52 is a beacon of success, you know, but they did wait a while before they put out Forever Evil. And
I think
Marvel-
that's the way you put one out once every once every 18 months, and you're solid. You're good.
Yeah.
You don't have to
I
wait
mean-
2 years, but like a year and
Right.
a half.
Yeah, even a year if it's a short event.
Sure.
You know, but if it's a monthly event,
Sure.
8 months long, you need to wait a little over a year. But I mean, I feel like we just got through with Infinity.
Well, to me, it's actually killing the events, because even though I've liked all the events since AVX, they're coming and going so quickly that I don't even think that there's time for them to actually sink in. And not only that, but I am a proponent of the big event. I like the big, galactic, huge Infinite Crisis events where there's books that lead into them, and they build momentum, and then you get this payoff in this huge, big event, followed by, during the event you've got all these tie-in books and stuff. I actually like that stuff. I mean, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming, but I like feeling this huge epic story taking place. And when you are just tossing out these little events like Infinity, where there was, that story was huge, and I really liked Infinity, but were there even tie-ins to Infinity?
Yeah.
There were.
Avengers.
Yeah, and there were other ones too. Like there was that Infinity, The Hunt.
Oh yeah.
And then some other just like ancillary issues tied into it, but.
It's just to me, it isn't working. I think they need to calm down.
Yeah, I agree. And this Axis thing, what it does to me is it completely sucks the hype out. It sucks all the energy and the anticipation out of these events. Like, I'm completely not at all hyped the least bit for Original Sin. I mean, it's a good story, and so far I've enjoyed all 3 of the issues, counting the 0. But I'm not excited for it. I'm when AVX was coming out, I anticipated the next issue.
Yeah.
I anticipated the next issue of Forever Evil.
Yeah.
Original Sin, I'm kind of like, okay, when it comes out, I'll read it.
I get what you're saying, but for me, I've really been, like, I've enjoyed the Original Sin issues a lot, and whenever one comes out, it's typically the first thing I read because of how much I've been enjoying them. But it's, at the same time, I don't expect this will have a huge lasting impact on the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Except
I honestly
for the
can't
Marvel
even say
Universe.
that. Like, I can't even say that it goes to the top of my list.
I'm really enjoying Original Sin, but I don't even think that the discussion we're having is necessarily about the quality of the event. I think it's
not.
It's about the impact of the event, because
Yeah.
These need to be the summer blockbuster of where whatever the publisher is, where they're coming out, Marvel or DC, they need to be the summer blockbuster. I mean, and I'm not saying they have to come out in summer, but I'm saying they need to feel like X-Men Days of Future Past, which we're talking about later in this episode. It needs to feel like that, like the big, huge movie version of that.
The thing you can't miss this year.
Exactly.
That if you're going to read something from Marvel this year, it needs to be this event. And we've already had Infinity this year, and we've already got Original Sin, and then we've got Axis coming up, at the end of the year. Not to mention that whole Jonathan Hickman crossover that they're trying to pimp up with, like, the incursions and all that stuff. And they're almost, the way they're promoting it almost sounds like an event. Which this Axis story, just to kind of zero in on it a little bit, I don't really even know what. I mean, it's called Axis because of, well, I'm sure there's going to be some story reason, but the A and the X is playing off the fact that it's a team-up of the Avengers and the X-Men, which is playing off of the Avengers versus X-Men from a couple years ago. And, the cover that they've released or whatever, the promotional image, it's kind of like a Legion of Doom sort of thing. Basically, a group of villains team up together. Who knows what they're going to do, and the cover has, like, Red Skull, Loki, Green Goblin, Doom, Carnage, and is that Sabretooth? Looks like the Cowardly Lion. Straight up, he looks.
Maybe it's a crossover with Scotty Young.
It's Sabretooth. He looks like the Cowardly Lion. I'm no lie. Like he's got
lion.
the cat top. Yeah, no, I ain't no lion. I'm no lion.
I get it.
Lion. It's written by Rick Remender. Has Remender written any major Marvel events?
No.
I didn't think so.
No.
I mean, I like Rick Remender, but that does, I don't know.
I'm iffy on Remender anymore. I kind of hopped off Captain America after Dimension Z, and I hate to say it, I'd be afraid of alienating listeners, but I've never made it 6 issues into the first Fear Agent hardcover, and that's the thing that everyone seems to rave about. I didn't care for Black Science at all. About the only thing he's done that I flat out loved was
X-Force.
the X-Force. And I really did like Captain America too, but just the first
The first 10 issues were wonderful.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wonderful.
those were some of the best comics from that year, period.
See, I'm more of
But
a
I do
Jason
agree.
Aaron guy. I love Jason Aaron.
Yeah,
So-
me too.
Yeah, I like Jason Aaron too. I don't know. I'm not necessarily convinced on his ability to write the big story in terms of the big finish. I don't know, but we'll see. I'm enjoying it.
What informs that opinion?
Yeah, where do you
It
get
seemed like some of the stuff he did with X-Men Battle for the Atom. Like some of the stuff he was involved
that
with
was-
was the flatter issues.
No.
Yes, they were.
Who wrote the final issue that was so awful?
It was. Wasn't that written by Jason Aaron?
I thought it was Bendis.
Let's find out.
Yeah, we've got the Google in our hands.
Because you say that about him, and I just think of how he wrapped up that God Bomb story
which
Oh
was-
yeah, that
in
was.
Thor,
yeah.
and that was spectacular.
Amazing.
And I thought,
yes, I'm talking about,
Aaron's-
but these events.
Yeah, sorry, go
The
ahead.
events are different. You know that. You know events are different.
Paul, it's Jason Aaron.
This is a shock, Paul. I don't even think you can be on the show anymore.
I love Jason Aaron. Okay, I love his Wolverine and the X-Men. His Wolverine stuff, just like from the plain Wolverine book, was incredible.
Aaron had some of the strongest issues in AVX.
Yeah, AVX, his stuff in AVX was good too. So maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Yeah, I think so. So we got to the bottom of that. Paul's crazy.
I am looking. I'm trying to find out which issues that he wrote.
We already knew that Paul was crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, now we know he's wrong. So.
Yeah, he's crazy and wrong. That's what's up with Paul. It was Jason Aaron who wrote the last issue, by the way. It was
Yeah, I thought it was.
Wow.
Battle of the Atom number
But
2.
it's not all on him.
No, it was Bendis' fault.
But it was shoddy writing.
It was
But
bad.
It wasn't all on him though. The art was also maybe if the art had been great, it would have hidden some of the flaws in the art. Or in the
Wait.
writing.
I feel like I'm having. Are we sure that Aaron wrote that? Because I swear, isn't that the issue where someone else's name was on the cover?
I looked it up on.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now on Google, and it says written by Jason Aaron,
Yeah, but
drawn
does
by
it say that?
Todd
Are you
Rubik
looking
and
at?
Giuseppe Camicoli.
Okay. Well, that's another problem because Kim Coley's awful.
The cover did say Bendis and Cho.
See
Neither
that?
of
Okay.
them were involved.
So it was.
It was probably thrown on him at the last second because Bendis didn't do it or something.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a disaster in the end.
Bendis realized they had written themselves into a corner and.
It was like, guys, I'm
Listen,
out.
guys, I'm busy.
I can't get this done. They pass it
Bendis
on to
just
them.
didn't come into work that day.
I'm consulting on the TV show they're never going to make of my comic.
They kept waiting on the script, and suddenly pictures started popping up of him in like some Middle Eastern country in a cave. It's like gone and dying. But yeah, I mean, I know it sounded like I was dogging on Jason Aaron. I'm not. Like I said, I just named. I probably own as many Marvel trades of his as I do any specific author. But I don't know. We'll see. But Remender, I'm with you. I'm not necessarily I don't believe everything he does is gold. And this whole Axis thing, I don't know.
I don't know either. What's the story there? I mean, are they going to pivot around the
knows?
Axis? Or
Here's what we have. We have the villains lineup and the heroes lineup.
okay. Oh, that
That's-
tells you everything you need to know.
Right. That's what we've got.
Well, it comes out in this fall. It comes out this fall. So it will literally. I mean, if Original Sin is once a month, we're on issue 2 just came out, and it's 8 issues long.
I thought it was every 2 weeks.
Is it?
At the end of the last issue, it said, "Find out what happens next in 2 weeks."
That
The Infinity part.
explains. Okay, well then it'll be like, so there will be a month, or like a 3-month break or a 2-month break between the two
Still
events,
isn't much.
which is nothing.
And I mean, some people might say, well, DC did it with Trinity War and Forever Evil, but really,
No.
Trinity War was just a lead-in.
Yeah, you can't. It's completely different anyway because when I'm talking event, I don't even count stuff like Dark Reign as an event.
Right. Dark Reign was more like a
story arc that
what
ran
would you-
across all the books or something. I mean, it wasn't even.
Yeah.
It was a story or a setting, I guess. It was a setting for a
It
story.
was a setting. There you go. It's kind of how I see Brightest Day.
Yes.
Like Brightest Day was. I mean, you could say, hey, this was an event. It had a Brightest Day series, and it leaked over into other books. But it was more like how the DC universe reacted to the events of Blackest Night,
Yeah.
Yeah.
more than anything else.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know.
I don't know.
They're oversaturating. They're oversaturating the market with these event comics, and they need to pump the brakes. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Too many
Pump the brakes.
That's what I'm trying to say. And I think we've successfully finished What's Up with Paul. Let's move on to
Okay.
take it or leave it.
Wow.
Hi, and welcome to Take It or Leave It, the part of the show where we review things and stuff.
And
This
stuff.
week, we are going to talk about X-Men, Days of Future Past, the film, not the comic, which we talked about many months ago,
Mm-hmm.
but they are related. So are we going to read the letters, or should I synopsize?
Let's read. I don't know, Paul.
Synopsize.
Synopsize. So, in the far future, the world is a dark, bleak place. The Sentinels were created to hunt down mutants, but they started turning on humankind, for humans may produce mutants in their descendants, and it's just a bad, bad place to be. So the X-Men, or what's left of them, decide to send one of their own back to warn the world, or to warn, a few mutants in the world about what's going to come. And specifically, they've got to have Xavier and Eric Leshner, also known as Magneto, turn their differences away and work together and prevent Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask. So Wolverine goes back in time because his brain is the only one that can handle it, and hijinks ensue. Hijinks ensue with Wolverine.
Hijinks ensue. In the 70s. That's the.
It's not the
That's your best.
It's
synopsis
not.
yet.
It's not. I genuinely think the Godzilla synopsis is my all-time favorite Alan synopsis. I've listened to that episode 3 times, and one of the main reasons is Alan's synopsis.
How did it go? How did it go?
I memorized it.
I don't even remember myself.
Me neither. I can't remember it. But now I want to listen just to find out.
Let's read these letters, huh?
Yeah.
You want to get right into these letters?
Yeah.
Just get right in on that?
Read those text messages.
Hop on.
All right. Yeah. First letter comes from John. It says, "Hey, ancillary characters. Gotta say, I very much loved this movie. I've always been a huge X-Men fan since the first movie, and this one still blew me away. What really surprised me was how much I still loved Wolverine's character after like 15 movies." And he says, haha, that was a joke. After thinking about it more, I will say this movie gave real fans a lot to love. I know as a longtime fan, this one jumped straight into all I wanted to see. It never felt like it had to repeat all the previous stories, and to me that was great. I guess they assumed at this point you're either a fan or not, and thankfully I am. They made it really feel like this was a time-set movie. It had that 70s feel to it. The biggest moment has to be that silver hair guy, he says. Just wish we got more of him in this movie. Oh yeah, his name is Quicksilver. Thanks, Paul. He literally texted me in the middle of this and said, hey, what's the name of the silver-haired guy? I can't wait to see what's next in Apocalypse and to hear what you guys thought. John, that's at Forgiven 93.
I know John. We've met before.
Yeah,
I know John. I've seen him. I've watched
seen
him. I've watched him walk across the room.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go into too much depth on the movie, but I will say that the silver-haired guy was the highlight of the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. He was like, I've always been skeptical about how speedsters can be portrayed in film,
Yeah.
and this just made me believe, and know, not just believe, know that it can be done very well.
It can be done, and I think the Flash show is going to pale in comparison to the few the few speedy shots we had here. And also, the fact that they got Quicksilver right came as a complete shock to me.
I mean, too.
And when I say got him right, I don't know what I'm meaning by that, because he's nothing like he is in the comic books here.
Right.
They almost created a whole new character, but
That's fine with me, though.
He was perfect.
He stole the scene. He stole the show. I mean, the few scenes that he was in this movie are the scenes that everyone's going to remember when they walk away from it.
Yeah,
That's the first thing that's going to come into their mind.
When he first came on screen, I really didn't think I was going to like him, and then as soon as he started getting lippy with people, he was, how'd you like my use of that term, lippy? I thought he was funny and likable, and just the scene where he breaks Magneto out of prison was awesome, and I love that.
Oh my goodness. Nothing has ever come close to showing what it's like to be on that level of speed.
Yeah.
As this did. It was perfect. And the music in that scene
Yeah.
set the tone. It was just, oh man. It was brilliant is what it was.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know whose idea that was. If it was the writers or Bryan Singer's idea.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that idea and said, this is how we do it. And then the guys who executed it, they did it perfectly.
Spoilers, everyone, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't said anything too drastic, really.
Right.
But we're definitely going to be spoiling stuff. I mean, things will be spoiled.
Bail out now.
Yeah.
His character honestly reminded me more of a young Wally West than he did of Quicksilver. The way he was just funny.
Yeah.
Cracking jokes.
Yep.
And, oh, man.
Honestly,
it kind of hurts a little bit that it was Quicksilver and not the Flash.
Yep.
Because, I mean, let's be honest, DC, the Flash is a more dynamic character than Quicksilver in the comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not to take away from what they did here.
Not Barry. Barry's a piece of crap.
Barry is not a piece of crap, but
he's not
Wally
a piece of crap, but
great.
Barry is a very boring character.
Agree to disagree. Move on.
It's hard for me to move on when you're
I said
so
agree
wrong.
to disagree.
Okay.
I said agree to disagree.
I will not agree.
Well, I didn't say that Wally wasn't any good. I love Wally, but I also love Barry. I love
Which
them
one
both.
do you love more?
I'm not doing this right now.
Wally is the better character.
I like Jay
so-
Garrick.
Yeah, I love Jay. I love
Yeah,
Jay Garrick. I love Max Mercury. I love all the speedster characters.
Except for Barry Allen.
Jesse Quick. I like Barry. I just think he's very dull.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Quicksilver, his scene in this is great. I don't really know if I had expectations, but if I did, if I had had expectations, this would have certainly blown them away.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also talks about the fact that it pays off. How many years of X-Men movies now? What are all the X-Men movies? You got X-Men 1, 2, and 3.
It goes back to the first one came out in what, like 98?
Yeah, it was at least like the late 90s or 2000.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was 2000 then. I can't remember.
X-Men 2 or X2, whatever.
Yeah,
X-Men
so
Last Stand.
I think I'm on record on this show as saying that I'm not a huge fan of the X-Men franchise. I've seen every one in theaters, every single one, including the awful Wolverine Origins movie.
I saw that one.
So I liked X-Men 1 when it came out, and have since just gotten. I can't watch it again. I thought it was a fine movie when it came out, but I just can't rewatch it. X2 was
Seriously?
good. Yeah, X2 was good, but it's also dull. And
No, it's not.
Yeah,
X2 is not dull.
dull as can be.
You're wrong. What have you done?
X-Men 3 X-Men 3 is kind of unfairly maligned, but it's nowhere near as bad as everyone makes it out to be, but it's also
agree with
not terribly good. And
Yeah, I don't
X-Men
love it.
X-Men Origins Wolverine is awful. X-Men First Class I really enjoyed, probably the most out of all of them. And then the Wolverine I ended up liking even more than X-Men First Class. So they're on a win streak because now they've gotten 3 in a row here that I really love.
Yeah, spoilers. I feel like this new generation of X-Men films that they're doing, they do just seem to progressively be getting better and better. First Class, like, it was that movie that I was like, oh, what's going on with this? And then the preview started coming out. I was like, that actually looks pretty good. I'm intrigued. And then watched it and was like, wow, that was excellent. Way better than I expected. It was a very powerful movie.
Yeah.
And then this one is just, it's wonderful. I love this movie.
Yeah. X-Men came out in 2000.
That's what I said.
haven't seen.
That's what I said.
That's what I said.
That's what I said. No, I didn't say anything.
You haven't seen
I
what
actually
now?
said 1998.
I
You
said
haven't seen what?
76. I haven't seen the first 3 X-Men movies since they came out. And
I
same
thought you were
with,
about to say you hadn't seen them.
oh no, I've seen them. That's the true thing that I still haven't seen Daredevil or Hulk. But anyway,
He's talking about the Incredible Hulk.
the
Makes sense.
one with Edward Norton. I saw the bad one before that.
I like the bad one.
Oh. But anyway, so I can't really say how much I would like them now, having not watched them. But Wolverine Origins was that movie where I really wanted to go see it. And so I got some of my friends who were like, we really don't want to go see this, but we'll go with you since you keep pestering us. So we all went. And they were like, man, that's a great movie. And I walked out thinking, that was the worst thing ever.
Oh, it was awful.
It was
The worst thing ever.
the worst thing that's ever happened in the whole world.
That's not true.
There's nothing redeeming about that movie.
Nope.
It's not a great movie, but there are worse movies.
Paul.
I don't know. Name
There
one.
are worse movies.
Paul.
On the spot, name a worse movie.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
all
let's
of the
go
Twilight
to the
movies?
next. Let's go to the next letter. We got to get through this and then get to our take it or leave it.
Yeah.
All right. So the next letter says, "Oh, this is from Zach Berry, Zachy Boy
I know
on
how.
Twitter."
Who's
It says,
that?
"Dear fellas, I guess that's us. Concerning Days of Future Past, are we just supposed to forget about X-Men: Last Stand and how that Professor X died, but is a main character in Days of Future Past? With love, Zachy Boy 2001."
I think he'll come back, however they bring him back in the comics from his current death.
He's not dead.
He's not, what?
Yes.
All right. Here's what he's referring to. He's referring to the fact.
movie?
He's
In
referring to the fact that
comics.
at the end of X-Men, or in X-Men: The Last Stand, he gets basically atomized by the Phoenix.
Yeah.
Then in the after credits scene, it shows him with Moira McTaggart, like in a hospital somewhere in Australia or something, and he has basically phased his consciousness into the mind of this comatose body.
Right.
That's not Patrick Stewart's body.
Right.
And then in Days of Future Past, which is allegedly in the same timeline as the old X-Men movies, all the X-Men movies up to this point, he is in a wheelchair, Patrick Stewart, Professor X, as if he never died.
My theory is he's making everybody think that he looks like Patrick Stewart, and he really looks like the other guy.
Okay.
It's
My theory is that he is this. I don't know.
Ghost.
He's a mannequin.
He's a mannequin.
So walking his head, he
Um,
looks like a mannequin.
All right, well, let me throw another one out at you.
I'll throw it.
toss it.
At the end of The Wolverine,
His claws,
his claws get cut off.
and now
Yeah.
he's got silver claws again.
And then he is approached by Magneto and Professor X as himself, in that after credits scene.
Yeah.
bone claws and all. And yet, in the future, which is in the current timeline, he has adamantium claws.
Yeah. They just put the adamantium back in.
Oh gosh, this is getting.
He went back to William Stryker and said, "Hey, adamantium me."
Couldn't the Wolverine? No, it couldn't. Never mind, because he's got all the flashbacks to Jean. I was going to say maybe that took place in the post Days of Future, but no, they can't.
I'm just writing it off as the timeline could potentially have already been jacked up. You know, I mean, this is a movie about them traveling back in time. Well, Wolverine traveling back with his consciousness and changing.
Technically, Wolverine remembers, so he could still remember Jean.
Yeah.
Right.
Could we just talk about the movie?
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
The quality of the movie.
Right. Because, yes, these are things that are there, but these are not things that have bugged me. I've seen movies where this sort of stuff would really have bugged me, but here, the movie is so good that little things like that, I'm like, who cares? This is an amazing movie. It has a really strong opening with that whole science fiction vibe, like very, very like futuristic, post-apocalyptic world, and the Sentinels are freaking scary.
Yeah, and Blink is awesome.
Blink is awesome. I love the scene where she like blinks Colossus up and he's falling toward the earth, and then she creates a portal and he comes sideways punching.
Yeah, we've
That's
done that in
Sentinel.
Portal. Remember?
We've done all kinds of crazy things in Portal. It's basically, yeah, the guys that wrote that scene played all kinds of Portal before they made the movie.
That's how they did it.
That's exactly how they did it, and it's clever, and it's great to watch. It made the action just fantastic, and also the fact that we watched them die at the beginning really made you nervous every time they were in a fight, because you're like, are we going to have to watch these people die again, you know, like when they ripped Colossus in half.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And that opening sequence.
That was a great sequence towards the end when they're all dying and
Yes.
And they're kind of flashing back and forth between the 70s and the future, and
Absolutely.
very, very emotional, very powerful.
It was very powerful, and it sold it. Like, I never felt like there was no stakes. I felt like at any moment it could go wrong, and the X-Men could be stuck with that crappy timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I seriously was not convinced that everything was going to get fixed at the end. I didn't know where they were going to take it, so I was definitely on the edge of my seat. They sold that. Not just there, the whole sequence back in the 70s, like where Mystique, where Raven goes there and she's protecting the president and all them, and then she pulls the gun on Trask. I thought she's going to shoot him.
Yeah.
Like, I was sitting there thinking she's going to shoot him, because yes, I know that they were trying to sell that she's a good person, and Charles believed that if he would, you know, he could get her to do the right thing. But everything we know about that character is that she's basically just bad. And I know that they said that it was because of these events and everything, like in the old X-Men movies. But I was never truly convinced that she wasn't going to shoot him until she didn't.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the other X-Men movies, I think this is probably gonna be my favorite. I will say I have to throw in at least one negative here, just so we can keep things on an even keel.
Right.
I did think there were sections of the movie towards the middle where scenes drug and I was bored. It happened a few times towards the middle of the movie. There was just a lot of scenes of people standing around talking to each other, and that is a staple of Bryan Singer for me as a director.
What were the scenes? I mean, can you think of?
Off the top of my head, no. But that there was probably at least 10 to 15 minutes in the middle where I was tapping my foot.
That did not happen to me.
And I know everything there was important, and it all moved the plot along and all that stuff, but it just, for me, it drug a little bit in the middle. However, I just thought the movie was exceptionally strong, and Bryan Singer has never been to me anyway, he's never been a terribly visual director. I mean, he's got a definite style, but I've never thought of him. You know, Matthew Vaughn is very visual. I mean, he's got this very specific style of direction.
Right.
But I thought Singer's handling of some of the scenes in this, like that Quicksilver scene we talked about,
Oh man.
And just all the slow-mo, the way he handled slow motion in this movie, and the action scenes were so dynamic.
Oh yeah. He knocked it out of the park. I
Yeah,
would say before this, his best scene is probably the opening sequence to X2 with Nightcrawler. Like, going into that movie, the opening scene with Nightcrawler breaking into the White House and attacking the president was just awesome.
Yeah.
So it shows that he has a way of taking a character like that might be difficult to present visually and finding a really cool way to show off their powers and to show off what makes them interesting. And we've already talked about that scene with Quicksilver, but seriously, people, that is just great filmmaking. But I felt like this movie kind of brought it all.
Yeah, like on similar note with his visuals, I liked how he had like the old style 70s cameras on whenever they were having that scene in Paris.
Did you see him in that scene?
See who?
Bryan Singer was actually the guy holding the camera that was, I believe he was the one that was holding the camera that was trained on Mystique when she came out the window, but I can't remember. But Bryan Singer's actually in that scene holding one of the cameras.
Oh, I don't know what the dude looks like.
I know what he looks like, but I didn't notice
Looks like
that.
a creep.
Yeah.
All right.
But there were a lot of little subtle things like that. Like, at one point, Quicksilver says something like, "God controls metal." My mom knew a guy like that once.
Yeah.
Chuckle. And the part with Wolverine where he's like coming out of
Nude.
his... No, not that. I try to forget about that part.
I can't let it go. I can't.
Me neither. I have to just stop right here and say, Hugh Jackman,
Paul,
that man is a
I want you
brick
to
house.
think about what you're saying. Okay.
He's a brick house.
It's out there.
Like, the veins in his arms have muscles.
Forget the veins in his arms.
Oh, goodness. Okay, I will admit I was a little surprised by the full rear nudity.
I didn't think they could do that in PG-13.
Oh, they
Yeah,
can do
show
anything.
butts. They can show butts. I mean, that's acceptable.
I mean, watch
but
Dances with
seriously.
Wolves.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, we saw the man's ankles. From his ankles to the top of his head.
He was touching
Standing
his
there.
ankles. Well,
Just butt naked. And I was like,
Never
oh,
mind.
gosh. Brooke was, my wife was like, don't look. Just cover your eyes. I mean,
she
he's
told you that?
No, I told her that. I said,
If your wife had gone, don't look, close your eyes.
yeah, that's how that went down.
That'd be very telling.
But that whole scene was great. Like how not the nudity.
He's holding his ankles.
Beautiful. The way he's preparing for a prostate exam right here on camera. The way that scene went, he wakes up, he's in the 70s, and he's thrown into that situation where he's in bed with this woman he's supposed to be protecting, and these goons show up to kill him. And then he pops his claws, and they're bone. He's like, oh, crap. That's a great scene.
Yeah.
What a way to get off the ground.
And he tries to explain it to him. He's like, "Yeah, see, it's not really me. That wasn't me in the bed. That was, that was me, but I'm from the future."
Right. And it's just, what a great scene. And there's so much to talk about. I do want to hit on the ending sequence.
The
Like,
after credits, or
no. Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we could mention that, but the present day, how the things would change. Everything was changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in doing so, it gave them the ability to not only tie up past plot threads, but to open up the future of the X-Men franchise.
Mhm.
At this point, they can pretty much do whatever they want.
Yeah. And it had all the old actors too. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, according to Simon Kinberg, though, this movie was the closing of the book on this cast, on the original X-Men cast. The Storm and I don't know if he's talking about Jean and Cyclops and all them, but the next movie is supposedly rumored to be set in the 80s, so we're gonna obviously be still with the older or the younger cast.
Well, I did read like 3 days ago that he said that it's certainly possible that they would bring some of the old actors in for some scenes in this new movie, which personally I just see no need for.
No.
I think that they need to let it go. I think they should let Patrick Stewart and all of them that did a great job. Let this be their ending, because that ending sequence was about as good an ending as they could possibly give for those actors in that setting that they had created. Now, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't bring Cyclops and Jean, those characters, in if they want as young people, as children or teenagers, but they need to retire that. They need to retire that cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Apocalypse.
Straight up.
I had to look up who that was because he didn't look at all like the Apocalypse I'm familiar with.
Well, yeah, but he's gray skin, and them chanting his Egyptian name as he assembles the pyramids in Egypt. I was like, yeah, that's Apocalypse.
Okay. I didn't realize that they were saying in Sabanur.
But
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a pretty cool sequence, but it was definitely for the fans.
Absolutely.
No one that doesn't know a lot about Apocalypse is going to really recognize what's going on there. But it was a cool scene. It was definitely a cool scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they'll do like the time travel stuff with the Age of Apocalypse movie?
I don't know.
Because that's time travel in the comics, right? Or alternate timeline or something. I don't know.
Something
It's
like that.
like an alternate timeline.
Yeah.
Ethan would know, but unfortunately he's not here. He's a big Age of Apocalypse guy.
I've
Yeah.
never read any of that.
I'd say they'll put their own spin on it. I doubt that time travel will be the focus, solely because this movie was, and that would potentially seem redundant. But
Yeah.
who knows? I have faith. I have faith in them now. I mean, they have proven themselves over the span of 2 movies that they know how to take these characters in this franchise and give us something really good. So I'm not a big fan of what they did with the Phoenix, but so far what they've done with some of these characters that we're familiar with, they've really stayed true to the comics while also creating something that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
It was good. It was very good.
Yeah, I'm taking it.
Taking
it hard.
Yeah, taking it hard.
All right.
Are we? We should review a comic,
Yeah.
shouldn't we?
Or something else.
Yeah.
Or something else.
I want to
Comic.
review a comic though.
I'm going to start us off.
Do it.
Hammer down.
The Flash number 30. This is a couple months old, but I didn't realize when I bought it. I bought this because I like Robert Venditti. I'm not crazy about Brett Booth, but I am crazy about the Flash. He's one of my favorite characters, just not this particular guy that is in the Flash costume, whose name is Barry Allen, and statistically is considered one of the most dull characters in all
my
of comics.
goodness. For the love of Pete,
So
let's quit beating this dead horse.
issue revolves around Barry. Some things happened here I didn't quite understand. I haven't read The Flash in quite a while, so obviously I've missed some major plot developments.
Like what?
Well, I didn't realize that this woman knew he was the Flash.
Patty, his girlfriend or whatever?
Yeah, and what's going on at like the Central City Police Station, I didn't understand until later in the book. I didn't realize it was like basically the after effects of Forever Evil.
Yeah.
But anyway, the issue is about Barry picking up after Forever Evil, and he goes to a shrink, and the issue starts off, the main reason about it is that Wally West is in it. He's a young black man in the new 52, which is different from the red-headed Irishman from the old 52. But a lot of the book is spent with Barry in a shrink's office talking to her, and while she is talking to him and he's supposed to be spilling his soul or whatever, when she's not, like, I guess in between her blinking or looking away or whatever, he's actually running out into the city and saving lives and stuff. And it's actually not an action-heavy issue. It kind of just gets into the head of where Barry is right now in his life. And the art by Booth I didn't love, but the story I really liked, and I am interested enough to pick up the next few issues, so I went ahead and did that. So I'll probably try to review these on the next episode as well. But if you're a Flash fan, I would suggest picking this up. And the Flash hasn't been weak or anything. I mean, Manipul and Buccellato did a fine job. I just got a little burned out, and that came at a point when I was kind of getting sick of most comics in general, so I never did finish those issues. But I thought this was a good issue of the Flash. If you're a DC guy like I am, or if you're a Flash guy like I am, I say pick it up. I thought it actually reminded me a little bit of Jeff Johns' early issues on the Flash. That's kind of what it's like. So it's more character heavy than it is action. But I think that is going to change because it looks like this is going into some big story arc with like time travel and.
Yeah, that was crazy at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, is Venditti the permanent writer on this then?
As far as I know, he's currently the author, like going forward.
Okay.
But he's writing what now? Flash, Green Lantern, and Green Lantern Corps?
I never picked up any of the issues of Green Lantern he did other than the first one. And I really like Venditti. I thought Exo Manowar was a great book, which I never would have expected. So
yeah.
I was more than willing to give him a shot on this, and it seems like he is doing a good job. So the Flash.
Yeah, I like that issue a lot too. I didn't really know what to expect from it, but
good. I didn't know. I didn't realize you'd read it. So which issues you just haven't read issue 31 yet?
Yeah, I haven't read 31. My shop must have missed it. I need to make sure, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got it.
Just came out.
But
yesterday.
I missed that third annual for sure.
Yeah, the annual you have to buy before buying issue 31 because apparently the annual is where the story that is in 31 begins.
Yeah, I loved how that issue began with like that scene with Wally, and then it ended like in the future or something.
Yeah.
It did a really good job of hooking you into the story.
Yeah.
That was the thing that impressed me. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, Alan,
I thought the art was,
give it a
was
try.
okay.
Yeah, I've been meaning to catch up to Manipul, but I might just go ahead and pick up the Venditti stuff since it's recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple like one-offs between Manipul's end and this issue with Venditti, but they were okay. I mean, it's nothing that you have to write home about.
Yeah.
All right. You want to go next?
Yeah,
I'm going to go next. I'm going to do it.
Go for it.
It's going to happen. I want to review Amazing Spider-Man, The Return of Amazing Spider-Man. I'm going to kind of just toss 1 and 2 together here, issues 1 and 2. Obviously, this is written by Dan Slott, and this first arc is drawn by Humberto Ramos. So he's probably my favorite of the Spider-Man artists that rotate around with Dan Slott. And these first 2 issues, and if I write that article I'm thinking about writing, I'm going to talk more about this, but I think Superior Spider-Man breathed new life into the Spider-Man franchise. Because I'm more excited about reading Peter Parker right now than I could possibly tell you. Like, I'm loving every scene that he's in. He's hilarious. Dan Slott is nailing the lines with Peter Parker in these first couple issues. The humor is just great, and I didn't realize how much I missed it. I mean, I know I missed it. You know, I was like, I kind of missed that spirit of Spider-Man and everything, but it's great. And out the door, Slott drops a couple little tidbits in the story, these hooks that he's going to be bringing down, one of which was a pretty big reveal. That first issue opened with, like, showing little scenes of when Peter got bit by the spider, and it basically alludes to the fact that, and this is a spoiler, that someone else was bitten by the same spider. That as it like walked off of him to go die, it actually bit someone else before it died. It was this girl. And that all this time there's been someone else out there who was bitten by the same radioactive spider. And they actually even take that a little farther in the second issue. And that, to me, like the moment I read it, the way it was presented was very cool, and it got me very excited for the future. So these first couple of issues have gripped me back into Spider-Man probably more than any of the Superior issues. And I love the Superior Spider-Man story arc, even though I obviously miss Peter Parker. The art has been great. It's been hilarious. I love the sequence with his Spider-Man losing his clothes and having to put web underwear on, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious. I loved it.
following up with that, he showed up with the Avengers wearing his spider suit and pants.
Yeah, he's wearing the Spider-Man costume from the waist up. And he's just wearing like big baggy jeans, and they're like, "Why are you wearing pants?" It's because the webbing had been changed to where it didn't dissolve in an hour, so he couldn't figure out how to get it off. It's great. It was hilarious. Yeah, he's like, I really have to. I love these first 2 issues, and I'm glad that Peter Parker is back. So I just wanted to state for the record, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 are amazing books, and I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, same here. So I guess that leaves me.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about Thanos Annual #1 by Jim Starlin and Ron Lim. So I was expecting this to they pulled it for me, I guess, because I pulled the old Thanos series by Jason Aaron. So this is something I would have picked up on my own. It just ended up in my folder, so I grabbed it and read it. I read it. So anyway, it didn't tie into that really at all, but it was still enjoyable. It actually started back when Thanos had the Cosmic Cube and was defeated by the original Captain Marvel, and Captain Marvel died.
It's because these 2 guys, Starlin and Lim, would have been I believe they're the team that did Infinity Quest and Infinity War and all those.
Yeah, it mentioned they were returning to the book, so I had no idea that they were previously on Thanos. But so it starts with that at the end of the one with the Cosmic Cube, and Thanos is defeated, and he's just dejected that he's been defeated. He's whiny almost, like, I can't believe I've been defeated. I'm done. I shouldn't even try anymore. So he ends up being transported to Mephistopheles' little section of hell or wherever he's at. And so he's down there, and he's going to cut a deal with Mephistopheles to like do his bidding and stuff. Well, then Thanos shows up, and he's down there, and he puts Mephistopheles in a bubble, and so Thanos is talking to Thanos, and he's like, "Hey, I'm your consciousness from." He said, "I have the Infinity Gauntlet, and I realized once I got it that I'm going to lose it, so I used a split second that I had to send off avatars of myself to look at different moments in my life." So he's like basically the ghost of Thanos' future, and they wrestle, and it's really, I mean, I was not expecting to enjoy this book, or it wasn't that I wasn't expecting to enjoy it, but it was an annual. It was about a random character who is a bad guy. I was reading this thinking, whatever. But then I started reading, and I was like, this is really entertaining. And Thanos is not how I expected in this. Like, you see the dejected failure of Thanos, then you see the future Thanos, and then there's another future Thanos that you meet. And basically the whole thing alludes to something's happening in the future, something big with the different Thanoses. And then, or with the, Thanos Prime or whatever. The Thanos that got stuck in that blob at the end of Infinity. And so something big's about to happen with him, but it doesn't say what it is. And then whenever Thanos gets snapped out of his trip with his ghost Thanos, he's back in his own timeline with where he just fell to the Cosmic Cube. But he doesn't remember anything. He's just kind of got a subconscious confidence returned. But anyway, the art's cool. It looks very spacey, and like it does this weird thing where Thanos is like a constellation at one point, and he's shooting beams out of his eyes as a constellation. And it's, you see the stylized Mephistopheles and his realm of torture, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was good. I recommend it. Take it.
I love Jim Starlin. Actually, Paul, you and I like what you call it, Ran Thanagar War a lot, and he wrote that.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I know the name. I just couldn't think of anything I'd read by him.
Yeah, well, he wrote Infinity. What was the first one? Shoot, what was the initial one that George Perez drew the first and last issues of, and the middle issues were drawn by Ron Lim?
Infinity Gauntlet.
Infinity Gauntlet. Gosh, I'm an idiot. Okay, let's wrap this up. That's it. We're done.
Yeah.
I'm closing us down. This is Ancillary Characters, the podcast of the website, ancillarycharacters.com. Find us on the web at ancillarycharacters.com. You can find me on Twitter at Seth Breeds Love. You can find Paul on Twitter at JollyGreen05. You can find Alan on Twitter at KAlan Boone. You can find Ancillary Characters itself on Twitter at Ancillary Tweets. Find us on Facebook.com/Ancillary Characters. And we need letters, like our 2 letter writers tonight. You can send those to letters@ancillarycharacters.com. What am I forgetting? We need reviews.
Yeah,
on
we do.
iTunes. Leave us a rating and review. I think that's it. I think we're done.
That does it.
Tune in next week. We're going to do a book it of something. Possibly Astonishing X-Men. Possibly Superior Spider-Man. Barry Allen sucks.
Barry Allen is the best.
I like cheese.
Barry Allen sucks.
What a jerk.
Your face is a jerk.
You're going to leave that on there, aren't you?